भगवान है बेटी। अश्लीलता को दूर भगाओ, अपनी बेटियों को बचाओ। अगर बेटा घर का शान है तो बेटी घर की आन है। जिस देश में होता है नारी का सम्मान, वह देश होता है स्वर्ग समान। A very warm good evening to the August gatherings. Today, I, Ansuman, and my co-host
Varsha,
welcomes you all in this special guest talk session to celebrate International Day of Girl Child. Apart from being recognized as a mother, a daughter-in-law, the world of a woman isn't now limited. She is now even recognized as a leader, an organizer, a director, an health officer, a teacher, an artist, and what not. International Day of Girl Child is celebrated on 11th of October every year to celebrate and commemorate the victory of girl in every field from academics to space researches to border security forces and many other arenas. It marks the abolishment of all kind of hatred and injustice towards girls which they experience globally. While much progress has been done in the last 2 decades to ensure every girl is able to grow and develop in good health, there is still much to look forward to. For instance, 12 million girls are still married before the age of 18 years. Each year, 1 in every 5 girls, mark my words, 1 in every 5 girls are facing globally sexual violence. In Eastern and Southern Africa, particularly, nearly 80% of new HIV infections among adolescents are among girls. WHO's executive director, Dr. Michael Ryan, argued that we today need to have a conversation, and the youth need to lead that conversation about the protection of girl child. We want new policies that allow girls to speak up every day and not just on special days that mark up an international movement. On this note, I would like to hand over to Tanu, the Vice President of WTC Society, for her welcome note.
Greeting everyone. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah, so good evening everyone, and we are grateful to have you all with us for this event. Today we have here with us our respected speaker and our guests and our faculties. The convener of WDC, Dr. Madhu Bhatta, isn't available right now, but we have here with us the teacher in charge of WDC, Ms. Shipra, and I'm not quite aware. Wait a minute. We have the faculty coordinator of Plus Politics, Dr. Aprajita Majumdar. Also, that's all actually. So I would like to use this opportunity to tell you about both the cells. The Women Development Cell has both the faculty and students of the college as its members and works with an aim to create a gender sensitized community within campus as well as in the society. It has been organizing varied academic, technical, medical, cultural, and social events for the upliftment of women and spread the real importance of gender equality in the society through college students. Plus Politics is an innovative initiative of the Department of Political Science of Ramanujan College, University of Delhi. The aim of the society is to invigorate a permissive realm for active academic participation to boost up the learning spirit of the young minds and to further hone their skills. It is an endeavor to see politics in a positive light, to exchange ideas, information, and knowledge about politics and related activities, and to assess them in the future context of the current situation. Both the cells have merged their interests together into one and brought forward this opportunity for everyone to get a deeper insight on the gender topics through this talk with our special guest, Sonal Goel ma'am, whom Varsha will be further introducing to all. Varsha?
yeah, thank you, Tanu. I'm extremely delighted and overwhelmed to get the opportunity of introducing our speaker, IAS Mrs. Sonal Goel. who is currently posted as Special Resident Commissioner at Tripura Bhavan. Apart from this, she is also a company secretary and a lawyer. She has secured All India rank 13th in Civil Services Examination 2008. She has put in more than 13 years of dedicated services towards nation. She has been appointed as honorary advisor at BRICS CCI Young Leaders Forum for the session 2020-2023. Her commendable efforts towards breaking the stereotypes and creating a difference in the society are countless. We wholeheartedly welcome you, ma'am, in our webinar. Before handing over the mic to our speaker, I would like to mention an important point that towards the end of the webinar, we will be having a question answer round, and I hope ma'am would love to answer our all questions. I feel honored to hand over the mic to our speaker, IAS Mrs. Sonal Goyal. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. A very warm good evening, namaste to all the students, the faculty members, the team members of Ramanujam College. I congratulate all of you, the young minds, for taking such initiatives and very relevant theme, which was in fact few days back we all celebrated the International Day of the Girl Child on 11th of October. Unfortunately, I was not keeping well from last few days, so this session had to be rescheduled. My apologies for all the inconveniences caused. Even right now, in fact, I have not resumed my office work, but since I had given my commitment to the college students, so I would be presenting my thoughts in brief in the webinar today. And I really love to interact with the students who are present in the webinar. So my initial remarks would not be very long, and I would rather like to have an interactive session, the questions from the moderators as well as questions from the participants. So friends, when we are talking about the gender parity or women empowerment, or so as to say celebrating all such days which are talking so as to say about women empowerment, which are talking about gender parity. So we all know that in 2011, in December 2011, the United Nations General Assembly, it declared October 11th, it declared 11th October as the International Day of Girl Child. So this was an important step which was initiated by the United Nations to recognize the rights of the girls and to reinforce the challenges, to remind the world of the unique challenges which women, which the girls all across the country have been facing even today. So International Day of Girl Child, just to tell in brief, that it focuses attention on the need to address the challenges which girls face today, and also to promote girls empowerment, and to have steps initiated towards fulfillment of their basic human rights. So when we're talking about girls, it is primarily we are talking about the adolescent girls, but yes, of course, we are also talking about women in general, the women empowerment, the gender parity in the society. When we're talking about having an equitable or having an equal world, so we cannot deny that for any society to progress, for that matter, whether it is India or any other country abroad, men and women need to move at an equal pace, and they both are having the equal responsibility, and they share an equal onus towards the development of any region per se. But when we are talking about the kind of opportunities, the access to opportunities, the environment, and all such paraphernalia which is existing in the society, there are still many gaps, there are still many challenges which need to be addressed to. So when we are talking about International Day of Girl Child, we are all trying to celebrate and also to remind us of our own self that the way girls are breaking the boundaries, the way girls are breaking the barriers posed by the stereotypes, posed by exclusion, including those challenges which are directed at children with disabilities and also children or girls who are living in marginalized communities. As entrepreneurs, as innovators and as initiators of global movement, girls are creating a world which is not only relevant for their own self but also for the upcoming future generation. When we talk about the United Nations 2030 agenda, the UN 2030 agenda for sustainable development goal, which is talking about 17 SDGs, 17 sustainable development goals, which have been adopted by world leaders all across all the UN partner nations. So achieving gender equality and women's empowerment is one of the very important and an integral goal amongst the 17 SDGs. And when we are talking about empowering women, it is not only to ensure that they get justice, it also means that they get inclusion, they get right rights very much from the beginning of their life. So it is not only talking about uh, including women as equal counterpart in accelerating the sustainable development, but also uh, from the day a girl is born to all such kind of decisions which a girl has to take for her education, for her schooling, for her job opportunities, for marriage, so and so forth. So we empower women, we empower girls, and that is one of the very important points which has been laid down in the 2030 SDG agenda. Recently, friends, yesterday we celebrated Vijayadashmi, and prior to that, we were all celebrating Navratri. In our country, especially when we talk about the traditions and mythology, our society has seen all such festivals being women centric, stree centric, goddess centric, whether it is Navratri Puja, which is celebrating Durga Mata, or we talk about Kali Puja, Saraswati Puja, Lakshmi Puja. So when we are talking about all such traditions, all such mythological things which have been ingrained in our society. So, on one hand, we are celebrating the Sri Shakti, we are celebrating the women power, but on the other hand, have we been able to give that equal parity, give that equal status to the girls and women? That is still something which we all need to think and we all need to ponder that how should we improvise. So when we're talking about achievement of women in various fields, so India has predominantly been a patriarchal dominated society. So by patriarchal dominated society we mean that there are various kinds of biases, prejudices which are existing in the ecosystem, and it is irrespective of the fact that whether it is a rural society or an urban society. Of course the variations are different. I do not disagree to the fact that in urban areas still in some parts of the country situation is much better, or for that matter in some regions of the country, for example in northeastern region, because I have worked in Tripura and I have worked in Haryana, so I have seen the stark contrast in the sense that in few of the northeastern states of the country, women are at a much better pedestal as we compare it to the northern part of our country. So, when we are talking about the development, when we are talking about moving the country forward, it is very important that we recognize such kind of biases and prejudices existing in the society and we all work collectively. So, friends, when we are talking about right of a girl, so the first and very foremost challenge is the survival of the fetus. We all cannot deny that the issue of selective sex determination and then selective sex abortion is still existing in the society, because of which PCPNDT Act 1994 was enacted, and under which this is a punishable offense, and it prohibits any parent to undergo such kind of thing. But still such kind of incidents are being taken place in our country. So if we are not giving the right to a girl to be born, so we are actually disturbing the gender equilibrium. So this is the first and foremost thing which we all need to recognize, that somewhere, if we see the statistics, the SRB, the sex ratio at birth, and then the child sex ratio at birth deals with the sex ratio of 0 to 1 year age group, and then child sex ratio, the child sex ratio which talks about the sex ratio amongst 0 to 6 years of age. So when this Beti Bachao Beti Padhao Abhiyan was launched in 2015, at that time, in the context of our country, there were few states like Haryana, Rajasthan, in which the SRB and the child sex ratio was much lower than the national average. I think the national average was somewhere around 911 or so, and in states like these, it was not even 850. So when there is a gap of say more than 150 girls being deficit to the 1000 males, so when we are having 150 number average deficit in a state, so of course this will be impacting the development, this will be impacting the way society would progress, and you, I'm sure you must have heard incidents about the brides being taken from other states, eastern states, northeastern states, in these northern parts of the states, because they are not able to find suitable brides for their grooms, for their sons. So this is one part. On the other hand, if you talk about when a girl is moving forward in her life, so education is one thing which is very important. So when we are talking about education, it is not only the primary education. It definitely means at least that a girl is completing her school, and after that she should be able to have at least her graduation, or for that matter any kind of vocational training through which she can earn. If we're talking about empowerment of a woman is not empowered unless and until she is financially empowered, she gets economically empowered. So for that matter, there are various schemes, various programs, policies which have been announced by central as well as the state government. And if we talk, I come from administration. I have been working in administration for around 13 years. Prior to that, I was in private sector. Friends, if we talk about statistics or the percentage of women who are working in bureaucracy at present, in police service, as IPS, it is not even 10%. In IAS, it is not even 20% in totality at the national level. So if we talk about overall percentage of women in civil services, including all other services like postal, audit and accounts, Indian Revenue Service, the percentage is not even 20% at the national level. So when we are talking about women to occupy more roles at the leadership level. So the women to occupy roles in the leadership level would mean more women to come in police, more women to come in bureaucracy, more women to come in politics, more women to come in administration, more women to come in all such jobs, all such career opportunities, including the private sector, in which they have a decision making role. And when they will have that decision making role and capacity and capability, then she would be able to take much inclusive decisions for the organization in which she is working. So that organization, that district would definitely become more gender centric. It would have more gender parity if you have women in leadership roles in those organizations. So it is very much important that we give emphasis to the education of the girls, it is also important that we give importance to the to the empowerment, which definitely includes the economic empowerment of girls, and it will definitely lead to gender orientation. It will definitely lead to gender sensitization of the overall working of that organization. Very briefly, friends, I would like to mention just 5 or 6 schemes which have been adopted by Government of India, which I'm sure you all must be aware of. And if you're not aware of, I would request that you all take knowledge about them and try and help the girls around you who may be eligible under those schemes and who may get some benefit out of those schemes, because you are all educated, you are all informed citizens of the country. So Beti Bachao Beti Padhao scheme, I'm sure all of you are aware of. 2015 this scheme was launched, in which it there are primarily two focuses, is that it is advocating on prohibiting the determination of the sex of the fetus, and then of course emphasis on the education of the girl child. So 3 ministries primarily: Ministry of Women and Child Development, Ministry of HRD, which is now Ministry of Education, and of course Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. These three ministries have been working in tandem at the central level, and of course at various state levels, there have been triple BP, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao cells have been formed under the Women and Child Development Department or under the Social Welfare, Social Education Department, depending upon how the structures are laid down by the various state governments. CBSE Udan scheme. CBSE Udan scheme has been launched by the CBSE in collaboration with the Ministry of HRD, which is now the Ministry of Education, Government of India, and it is actually helping to improvise the enrollment of girls in the prestigious engineering and technical colleges across the country. So it has some incentive for girls in class 11 and 12 grades, so that they get some support for their admission in the higher education after 12th. Sukanya Samriddhi Yojana has been launched almost at the similar time when Beti Bachao Beti Padhao scheme was launched in 2015, and this scheme has been run very effectively by the Department of Post, Government of India, and in this it is a kind of an incentive for the parents to save for the girl child, and when the girl child attains the age of 18 years of age, then there is an amount which is being given for the higher education of the girl child. Similarly, friends, some state governments have launched schemes, like in Haryana they have launched Ladli scheme. They have launched a Kanya Kosh scheme, in which when a girl child is born, there is an amount which is deposited in the name of the girl child, and after a few years, say there are some limits after which the amount, when as a girl is growing up, that amount is then given in the name of the girl child. Ladli Lakshmi Yojana, Madhya Pradesh government had initiated. Similarly, in Tamil Nadu, Chief Minister's Girl Child Protection Scheme was launched, which again is a kind of a fixed deposit scheme in the name of the girl child. And when the girl grows, then this amount is available for the education of the girl child. So there are n number of schemes which are there, being announced by the central government, being announced by the state governments. What is more important is that girls get opportunity to have benefit of these schemes. So, and they should be given those incentives. That is very much important. Now, friends, if we talk about, you must have heard about the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. Last year, Honorable Prime Minister Sir had launched the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, and very importantly, two things there has been emphasis. First is to promote local. So become vocal for local. That means that you promote the local artisans, craftsmen, indigenous talented weavers who are producing goods across the country at various levels. And of course, a very important component is support to the women entrepreneurs. So support to women entrepreneurs is one thing which has been at the forefront of women becoming Atmanirbhar. And in that scheme, actually, there have been women across the country who have been getting benefit. And we all know that if you empower a woman, you empower a society around her. You empower the, because she in any case she would be uh, sharing the benefits of whatever she is gaining with the people around her. So that is very important. And when we talk about Indian women across other platforms like sports, if we talk about sports, recently we saw the performance of our Indian sports women in Olympics. In Olympics, our three initial medals were by the female sports players, Lavlina Borgohain, Mirabai Chanu, and of course PV Sindhu. And women's hockey team, they displayed a very remarkable performance. They were just short of one bronze medal. Similarly, in the Paralympics, also we saw so many female players getting medals for India. So, why I am reiterating these facts is that we all have seen how women, not only today, how through their generations, when we talk about the independence movement, when we talk about the social reformists like Jyotibai Phule ji, when we talk about all such kind of women who have come across and who have uh, put their metal and who have helped the other women to move forward. So that is even existing today, and we now see more informed, educated, more confident women coming forward. What is required is that some kind of a support from the society in which she is willing to move forward. In COVID-19, we all have seen that last year during 2020, and of course during the second wave in 2021, how women have worked at the forefront. We saw that how not only as doctors but also as the paramedical staff in various hospitals across the country, how women, even more than, there were some statistics in which it was written that more than 60% of the workforce which was dedicated as at forefront for fighting COVID-19 pandemic was women. So, and not only as the healthcare workers, but also as part of the sanitation workers, as part of the police, as part of the administration, as part of the corporation staff who was working. So, women have shown their grit during COVID-19 pandemic, and women have shown that whatever may come, they can face anything, they can face any challenge with their resilience, with their strength. And they have truly worked as COVID-19 frontline workers, as COVID-19 COVID warriors. And this responsibility of sharing and caring, they have demonstrated it so well. So we all have seen the power of Nari Shakti, the power of Stree Shakti. And Mahatma Gandhi ji had very well said that the power of women's equal voice is so much important. And he said, and he had always urged that, and he wanted women to break the shackles of domesticity and male oppression. And the way Mahatma Gandhi ji had encouraged women to lead the Satyagraha movement, to lead the freedom struggle, it is actually truly inspiring. And it is not only today, we all need to salute and encourage the indomitable spirit, determination, and the dedication which the Nari Shakti is displaying on an everyday basis. And when we are teaching, when we are reaching out to the women, we are empowering not a single woman, we are empowering many women around her. And I think, friends, we all need to do three or four major things. Firstly is that whoever is in the society in that position to help out each other, please support and reach out to such people, please help out each other. Secondly, it is also very important for women to have that self confidence. It is also important that girls also should feel कि हमको ये करना है, that they should have that inner strength and inner zeal. They should have that clarity and vision in their mind that what is they want to achieve in their life. And once they are convinced, it is also the responsibility of the society and the people around her to support and encourage her, because there might be many things which she would be she would be wanting to do, but because of lack of opportunities, but because of maybe lack of exposure, lack of knowledge or information deficit, she is not able to pursue what she wants to do. So it is also important for the society to help her. And then, of course, once a woman is determined, you must all have heard that there is no bigger force than a woman determined to excel. So when a woman is actually determined to excel, she gives her 100%, and she not only makes her own self proud, she makes her parents, the society, her and the nation proud of her achievements. So I think there's lot more which the Indian girls, which the Indian women can do. We all need to have that support and ecosystem for them, and they can truly do wonders. So friends, I think these were my initial remarks, and I would rather like to interact with you. If you have some specific questions about my own journey, or any feedback or any insights you want from my side, I would be happy to share with you. Right. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for such insightful words. Let's get started with our question answer round. Ma'am, we would like to begin with a question about your life and career. You come from Haryana, a state with so much potential and talent. Unfortunately, it also has one of the lowest sex ratio. So, have there been any instance where you experienced discrimination?
So friends, actually Haryana had predominantly being a patriarchal society. Of course, in my life journey, because I belong to a conservative family based in Panipat. Of course, my education was there in Delhi only. But if we talk about my own journey, so in generally, so I'm talking way back about around 2002, 3, 4. So generally, girls were expected to do graduation at the maximum, and then after graduation they were supposed to be married. So similar was the thing which was expected for me. And friends, when I was doing my graduation, I was also doing CS, company secretaryship, because at that time doing CS with BCom honors was allowed. So I came across civil services as a stream in third year of graduation. Before that, nobody in my family had ever discussed about civil services, and nobody had in fact thought of appearing for civil services. So when I even discussed this with my parents and in my family, there was a lot of uh, dialogue, and there was lot of, so as to say, disagreements, and nobody was kind of convinced that why I should be giving civil services, because ट्रेडिशनली यही एक्सपेक्टेड था कि मेरी ग्रेजुएशन कंप्लीट हो जाती, उसके बाद में अगर मुझे जॉब करनी थी तो आई वुड हैव कंटिन्यूड माय प्राइवेट सेक्टर करियर एंड देन मीनवाइल आई वुड बी मैरिड। तो सिविल सर्विसेज में जाने का मेरा थॉट, वो डिसीजन और वो सब ही काफ़ी एक ऑकवर्डनेस लेके आया फैमिली के अंदर। बट देन व्हेन आई डिस्कस दिस कि मुझे एक बार करना है, लेट मी बी गिवन दिस अपॉर्चुनिटी, ऑफ कोर्स माय पेरेंट्स, माय फादर स्पेशली, दे सपोर्टेड। एंड देन मेरे फादर ने बोला कि इफ़ यू वांट टू डू यू शुड हैव अ प्लान बी इन लाइफ, बिकॉज सिविल सर्विसेज में सिलेक्शन इज़ नॉट श्योर शॉट। तो आई took my father's advice. I completed my graduation in 2003. I completed my CS next year in 2004, and then I started my LLB from Delhi University after appearing for entrance examination. I qualified for LLB. I started my law, and 2004 में I started my part-time job as CS, and I also started my प्रिपरेशन फॉर सिविल सर्विस एग्जामिनेशन 2004 से लेके 2006-7 तक। all these things were parallel in my life. So when we are talking about discrimination or the challenges, friends, this entire period was very much challenging, very much stressful, because this was one thing which I had taken as a plunge on my own self, of course with the support of my parents, but the extended family, you don't expect them to support to that extent. And there were routine criticisms coming to me because I was not able to attend the social occasions, marriages of the cousins, festivals. तो वो टॉन्ट्स भी आते थे मेरे पेरेंट्स को कि ये अपनी मेरी एक एल्डर सिस्टर भी थी, शी वाज डूइंग सीए, सो दोज क्रिटिसिजम्स वुड आल्सो कम फ्रॉम द रिलेटिव्स कि ये अपनी बेटियों को पता नहीं क्या पढ़ा के क्या बनाना चाहते हैं। तो वो सब चीज़ें लाइफ में इवन आई हैव फेस्ड। ऑफ कोर्स अभी चीज़ें बहुत बेटर हो रही हैं, इवन इन हरियाणा एंड अदर पार्ट्स ऑफ द कंट्री, ऑफ कोर्स थिंग्स आर चेंजिंग, but lot more needs to be done when we are talking about the issue of women moving forward, because it is the mindset of the society। ये जो है एक मानसिकता है जो, अगर हमें एक बेटी की प्रेफरेंस नहीं है, अगर आज भी अगर हम ये चाह रहे हैं कि किसी घर से न्यूज़ आए और हमें बेटा हुआ उस घर में, वो न्यूज़ मिल के ज़्यादा खुशी होती है, वो न्यूज़ मिलती है तो कुआं पूजन सेलिब्रेट होता है। तो ये एक सिर्फ एक स्टैटिस्टिकल इशू नहीं है, ये एक सोसाइटल इशू है, ये एक सामाजिक इशू है, क्योंकि ये दर्शाता है कि हमारे माइंड में हम किसको प्रेफरेंस दे रहे हैं। सो इफ़ वी हैव टू मूव फॉरवर्ड, दिस इज़ अ कलेक्टिव consciousness of the society which needs to change, which is of course changing for good. I am not saying कि change नहीं हो रहा, it is of course changing for good। हरियाणा में ही आज के दिन में कितने स्पोर्ट्स पर्सन्स लड़कियां हैं जो कि पूरे विश्व में इतने सारे मेडल्स लेके आ रही हैं अलग अलग स्पोर्ट्स में, चाहे वो रेसलिंग हो चाहे और स्पोर्ट्स हो, तो उसके अंदर लेके आ रही हैं। तो ये सब जो चीज़ें हैं, बट वी नीड टू बी मोर अग्रेसिव, वी ऑल नीड टू बी मोर, आई थिंक और ज़्यादा इसमें एफर्ट्स देने की ज़रूरत है।
Thank you, ma'am, for bringing such a diverse perspective in front of us. So, our next question is, was it these experiences or something else which motivated you towards preparing for civil services? Our participants and we also would like to know about the things which kept you determined to achieve what you have achieved today.
फ्रेंड्स, माई ओरिएंटेशन टुवर्ड सिविल सर्विसेज केम व्हेन, मैंने जैसे पहले भी बताया, व्हेन आई वाज डूइंग माय ग्रेजुएशन, आई वाज इन 3rd ईयर एंड आई रेड अबाउट सिविल सर्विसेज इन सम मैगजीन। किसी टॉपर का एक इंटरव्यू पढ़ा मैंने और मुझे ऐसा लगा, आई गॉट दैट फील दैट आई शुड एटलीस्ट ट्राई वंस। आई थॉट, आई गॉट दैट स्पार्क दैट दिस विल हेल्प मी इन डूइंग समथिंग गुड फॉर द सोसाइटी। सो एज आई हैव ऑलरेडी मेंशन कि जब मैंने घर में ये बात डिस्कस करी तो देयर वर डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ रिएक्शंस, देयर वाज नॉट दैट मच एक्सेप्टेंस, देयर वाज continuous dialogue for 5-6 months, and then when my parents, especially my father, agreed, so then they supported, of course, but सिविल सर्विसेज की प्रिपरेशन करने के पूरे दौरान जो मेरा मोटिवेशनल फैक्टर था वो यही था दैट आई वांटेड टू हैव अ प्लेटफॉर्म which would enable me to work for the society, to do something good for the people around me. एंड प्राइवेट सेक्टर में रह के मुझे ऐसा लगता था कि मैं कर पाऊंगी लेकिन शायद वो डायरेक्ट अपॉर्चुनिटी नहीं मिलेगी which civil services gave at a very young age, because in this you are posted as SDM in your next year immediately after training, and then in 4 to 5 years you can be posted as collector or the deputy commissioner of a district, and you get ample number of opportunities to work for the people and the society. So this was a thing which kept me motivated even during my preparation, and this is the thing which is even motivating me today. So I worked in two states. I worked in Tripura, I worked in Haryana. I have seen two different parts of administrative setups in the country, but the core remains the same. The core remains is public service delivery. The core remains is reaching out to the people, interacting with the citizens and ensuring citizen service delivery. And this is the most important thing which has kept me motivated and driving even today.
Ma'am, now I would like to ask you something about the way we function as a society. If we look at the recent data of 2020, then there are around 40 to 45% crimes committed against women and girl child. So what, in your opinion, is the reason that we still are not able to reduce this crime rate, or is it just the mentality of the people?
So this aspect also needs a multi-dimensional thought into it. So one very important thing is that who is committing crime? Crime is being committed by the people who are there in the society. People amongst us only. कोई बाहर से तो आके कर नहीं रहा है. So whether you see this year's data or last year data, whatever are the percentage, they just reflect the way society is moving forward. Of course there are some states जिसमें progress is good, जिसमें the percentage of crime against women have declined. We have seen some states, especially last year, जिसमें cases under domestic violence act, especially during COVID-19 pandemic, they have registered an increase in few of the states. Domestic violence act के अंदर cases increase हुए हैं. तो ये जो चीज़ है, so this is very important to understand that the society needs to think women not as an object. Women is not an object to vent out anger, to convey displeasure, to vent out your frustration. She is also a human being. She is also an equal counterpart. And also the second important thing is that if a crime is being committed, उसको register भी होना ज़रूरी है. Many a times we are not reporting the crime because of the various reasons, because of say the harassment which a victim faces, or because of the complications which are there in the legal system. But even police administration and the criminal justice system is trying to remove those, to reduce those loopholes, reduce those lacunas. So it is also important that we report those crimes so that the people who are committing crime, उनको punishment भी मिले. It is also important, because if we don't register the complaint itself, then they are definitely scot free, which is not healthy for any society, because then they can repeat the crime against any other person in future. So it is also important that we register the crime. It is also important that we as society, अगर हमें ऐसा कुछ इंसिडेंट पता भी लगता है तो हम उसके अगेंस्ट आवाज़ उठाएं, and we make that person collectively responsible. नेमिंग एंड शेमिंग, जो ये सब जो चीज़ें हैं, ये होनी चाहिए सोसाइटी के अंदर. If we don't raise our voice, then friends, it will never reduce. This is also important for us to understand.
Thank you, ma'am, for your valuable insights. So our participants are also requested that if they have any question, they can put it in the chat box so that we can address to ma'am. And I hope that you all are getting something out of this talk, and ma'am sharing her valuable diversity of topics. And so our next question to ma'am. Ma'am, have you experienced any kind of discrimination while performing your duty, or have you encountered any colleague who is having a gender bias which ultimately affects the working of a woman civil servant? Ma'am, what have been your hurdles so far while performing your duty?
Friends, actually, many a times people ask me ki whether I feel any prejudice or bias or a challenge as a woman administrator, any discrimination I feel as a male or a female bureaucrat. Well, I would say ki that there is no such inherent bias, but yes, there are certain things which I would say occupational hazards. So, which is occupational hazards revolving more around women than men. For example, when you get married, so there are certain responsibilities which only a woman in society by nature also has to bear. For example, bearing a child, giving birth to a baby. So sometimes your natural cycle, sometimes your family cycle is in conflict with your career progression. I am not saying it only for the purpose of being in administration, but in other services also, even in private sector. So this is one thing which may sometimes affect your career progression. And of course, there are in administration, even friends today, there are certain postings or certain profiles which are seemingly thought to be more appropriately being headed by the male officers. So, for example, there would be some departments across the various states which would be headed by male officers. I am not saying it is everywhere, but in few of the cases. And of course, we are seeing that now women are becoming chief secretaries of the state, women are becoming secretaries in government of India, at all important ministries of all important portfolios they are handling. So I think that there are no inherent biases, but yes, of course, we need to have that work life balance. That work life integration is very important. And then your work life integration and your ability to carry your family and your work life together, your professional and family life together, that is an important aspect which not only a women administrator, which also a male officer, which also a male person who is working in any field, it is important. So I actually say that you should be deriving motivation from whatever you are doing. So whether it is your family, whether it is your work, everything needs to be balanced. And of course, things are changing uh, very rightly for women across the country. Yes.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for such wonderful answers. Ma'am, my next question to you is, how do you think administration can help us better in reaching a gender parity?
Administration can do a lot more, lot many things. We have, as I mentioned briefly, that we have so many schemes and programs being run by the government. And gender parity का अगर हम बात करें तो we have women Department of Women and Child Development, we have Health and Family Welfare, we have Panchayati Raj Department, we have the Education Department, we have Rural Development Department. All these departments have many schemes which are basically aiming at this providing gender parity, improving gender parity and gender empowerment. So whenever we are in administration, especially मेरा भी यही हमेशा कोशिश रहा है that we integrate the working of the departments wherever we can, and we try to have a better gender parity in the department, in the district जहाँ पे भी implement कर रहे हैं. So when I was in way back in Tripura, when I was working as DM Gomti in 2014-15, we initiated a campaign called Nandini. Nandini emphasized on integration and synergy of the efforts amongst various departments who had funds amongst various departments like education, health, women and child development, panchayati raj, etc. Similarly, when I was in Jhajjar way back in 2017-18, we had such programs which which aimed at empowering women, empowering girls, promoting menstrual hygiene amongst young girls, and as a project of Umang Ek Pehal in coordination with UNICEF. So there are many things which administration actually can do for improvising the gender parity.
Thank you, ma'am, for your valuable insights. Ma'am, as you mentioned in your speech, and ma'am, we know also that there is a sex ratio difference between northeastern part of India and the northern part of India. So what do you think is this difference, and what can northern part of India can learn from its northeastern counterpart?
So actually in state like Mizoram has seen a matriarchal dominated society. So matriarchal dominated in which women are having this major role in earning the family income, and especially in other northeastern parts also comparatively, of course, because it is, as I mentioned, it is a societal issue. So when we are talking about learning from these states, from the northeastern states by the northern states, of course, now northern states like Rajasthan, Haryana, UP, Punjab, they are doing also, they are taking excellent efforts for improvising gender parity. And as far as the child sex ratio or the SRB data is concerned, last 2 to 3 years data may, especially Haryana has improvised a lot. Now its SRB data is more than 900, and I don't have the recent figures, but as and when our next census is going to be published, our next census exercise 2021 2022 is going to be published, I'm sure that most of the states would be having a positive improvising trend. And friends, बात वही है that these things as a society we need to move forward, and which of course cannot be done overnight. It will take time, and it is actually moving in a very positive direction.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for such valuable and insightful words.
Actually,
Ma'am,
can we wind up in another 5 minutes or so, because it's already going to be 55 minutes. Maybe another 4 5 minutes.
Okay, sure, ma'am. Ma'am, may I request our Professor Sipra Yadav to give the vote of thanks for ma'am?
Is there any question from the audience? I would like to, if there is any
yes, ma'am.
chat
Actually,
box,
there is
I can
one
take,
or two questions.
and then we can wind up. Yes.
Okay,
Any
Okay, ma'am.
ma'am. So one question from our participant is, as you all know, ma'am, preparing for civil services is a tough task. So how did you manage your distractions and remain focused during the preparation years?
Friends, for civil services preparation, I generally take a separate session, and मेरा generally एक session एक महीने में मैं लेती हूँ. तो you can have a look at my YouTube channel, which is Sonal Goel IAS, or my Facebook page. YouTube channel में you will get all my recent videos, and civil services preparation के बारे में at least an idea you will get. So because it's a very broad topic, so I won't be able to detail it here. Just the question which has been asked कि how I stayed motivated. So first, इसमें सबसे important चीज़ यही है that it should be clear in your mind that why you want to join civil services. आपको civil services में क्यों join करना है? This purpose should be clear to you. And this purpose, this burning aim will only keep motivating you whenever you are in your low phases. और ये लो फेजेस और ये जो डिस्ट्रैक्शंस हैं ये सबकी लाइफ में आते हैं, मेरी भी लाइफ में आए. 2004 से 2007 this entire period I was studying for civil services. I was doing law, LLB की रेगुलर क्लासेस थी वो अटेंड करनी थी, उसके एग्जाम्स भी देने थे, पार्ट टाइम जॉब एज CS भी मेरा चल रहा था, वो भी देना, वो भी मुझे वर्क एक्सपीरियंस भी गेन करना था. एंड आई ऑफ कोर्स वांटेड टू support my studies financially, at least partially if not fully. तो ये तो प्रेशर सबकी लाइफ में रहेंगे. एंड द मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट थिंग इज़ योर ओन कमिटमेंट, आपका खुद के अंदर विश्वास और आपके 100% एफर्ट्स. If you are committed to your own self and you give your 100%, irrespective of what anybody is saying, people will criticize you, people will mock you, but it should not be demotivating you or it should not derail you from your own purpose. वो सबसे ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट है, आपको फोकस तरीके से अपने पढ़ाई पे ध्यान रखते हुए आगे बढ़ना है.
Thank you, ma'am, for your valuable insights. Now, may I have the honor to invite our Professor Sipra Yadav to give the vote of thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Anshuman. Thank you so much. And I think thank you. A lot of gratitude goes and a very humble thanks goes to Ms. Sunil Goel for carving out time not only for the students, but I know that she has not been keeping well and she was hospitalized a few days back. And I can see that she's not feeling very, comfortable right now. But she has been answering questions and engaging with these students over this very pertinent theme. So thank you so much, not only for being here, but also for informing our students about the various schemes and the administrative mechanisms pertaining to the rights of women and the benefits which a girl child has in society. So I won't take much of your time. And on behalf of Plus Politics Society of Department of Political Science and WDC Women's Development Cell of Ramanujan College, I once again thank you for joining with us today. And we really hope that the students will organize another session on cracking civil services where we can have more conversation with you on that particular theme. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for your acknowledgement. Now, may I request all the participants to kindly on their camera for a group photo. Thank you so much. So with
Thank
this,
you so much.
we have come to an end of the webinar, and just a few optimistic lines for the future aspiring girl child. And with this, we will end the event. So here it goes. घर की जान होती हैं बेटियां, पिता की गुमान होती हैं बेटियां, ईश्वर का आशीर्वाद होती हैं बेटियां, यूं समझ लो कि बेमिसाल होती हैं बेटियां। बेटों से ज्यादा वफादार होती हैं बेटियां, माँ के कामों में मददगार होती हैं बेटियां। माँ बाप के दुखों को समझे इतनी समझदार होती हैं बेटियां, असीम प्यार पाने की हकदार होती हैं बेटियां। बेटियों की आंखों में कभी नम ना होने देना, जिंदगी में उनकी खुशियां कभी कम ना होने देना। बेटियों को हमेशा हौसला देना, गम ना होने देना। बेटा बेटी में फर्क होता है, खुद को ये भ्रम ना होने देना। बेटा बेटी में फर्क होता है, खुद को ये भ्रम ना होने देना। Thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much, ma'am, for such a beautiful session.
Thank you so much, and my apologies. I was a little bit low on my energy, but I could not help it. I am still recovering from my ailment. My best wishes to the entire team, and may you all excel in whatever professions and careers you choose. And we all keep seeing a more gender empowered and a society. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Right.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, students. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.